Today, we are diving into a really fascinating paradox, one that kind of flips our modern idea of happiness completely on its head. It's an ancient answer to a very, very current question, and it's all drawn from the wisdom in the early Buddhist suttas. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, here it is, this central mystery we're unpacking. We live in a world that's just obsessed with chasing happiness, right? More stuff, bigger achievements, crazier experiences. So, how in the world can the simple, quiet act of just observing our breath, something we do like 20,000 times a day without even thinking about it, lead to a profound sense of pleasure? I mean, it sounds kind of impossible, doesn't it? To even begin to solve this, we have to start with our baseline. What's the normal state of our minds? Well, for most of us, it's noisy. It's this relentless internal chatter of planning, worrying, wanting this, regretting that. It's like having a radio on in your head that you just can't turn off. And this constant mental static, as we're about to see, is the very thing that's blocking a much deeper kind of well-being. Okay, so the first piece of the puzzle is understanding we're not just talking about breathing. Not at all. We're talking about a very, very specific kind of attention. It's a particular way of observing that is actually an active skill, something you have to develop. If you look at the ancient texts like the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, which is one of the big foundational teachings on mindfulness, they frame this practice in a really specific way. It is not passive. Notice the words they use: keen, aware, and mindful. And this next part is absolutely crucial. It's done while being rid of covetousness and displeasure for the world. See, this isn't about controlling your breath, it's all about refining your attention. Let's just break this down for a second. Keen, that means you're actually putting in some effort. Aware is about really understanding what's going on in your experience. Mindful, that's a simple part, just remembering to stay with the breath. And that last bit, that's the real game changer. You're training your mind to let go of its default setting, which is always wanting things to be different. This is active mental training. And this brings us to the first major clue. And get this, the pleasure we're talking about doesn't actually come from the breath itself. Nope. It comes from what happens in your mind when you finally give it one simple thing to focus on. The texts use this word over and over: secluded. Now, don't picture some hermit in a remote cave. This is a mental seclusion. By anchoring your attention to something as neutral as the feeling of your breath, you are slowly, gradually secluding your mind from all its usual drama. The endless chasing after pleasure and running away from discomfort. You're basically giving your mind a much-needed vacation from itself. And here you can really see the contrast. On one side, you've got the typical mind, scattered, constantly reacting, getting yanked around by craving and aversion. But through this practice of seclusion, a totally different state starts to emerge, one with unified attention and what the texts call an unsullied bliss inside. The key insight here is that you're not adding anything new, you're just taking away all the noise. So that's the crucial first step. You're just creating space. It's like clearing out a really cluttered room. By focusing on the breath, you basically starve those old habits of worry and desire of the attention they need to survive. And this creates a quiet, stable mental space where something pretty remarkable can finally happen. Okay, so the stage is set. The mental room is cleared out. The mind is quiet, secluded from its usual stuff. Now we get to the heart of it. Where does this profound joy actually come from? Well, the texts have a special word for what happens next: samadhi. You can translate it as concentration or immersion. It's this state where the mind isn't scattered like a floodlight anymore. It's gathered, unified, and powerful, like a laser beam. It just settles into itself. And there it is, the direct answer to our whole paradox. The text spells it out for us. It says that rapture and bliss are born of immersion. It's not a side effect, it's not a coincidence, it's a natural result. When the mind gets this settled and unified, a really powerful kind of pleasure just bubbles up on its own from that stillness. But we've got to be super clear here. This is not the same as the happiness you get from a great meal or getting a promotion at work. That kind of happiness always depends on something outside of you. This meditative joy, it's different. It is a resource that's generated from within, and it's completely independent of whether your day is going great or totally falling apart. The texts have this just beautiful metaphor for this experience. They say it's like a deep, calm lake, but it's not being fed by rivers from the outside. No, it's fed by a cool spring welling up from deep within. and that cool water fills every single nook and cranny of the lake. That's what this bliss is like, an internal wellspring that just soaks your entire being in a cool, calm joy. But wait, the story doesn't end there. In the context of these teachings, this incredible state of bliss isn't just about feeling good. It actually has a very practical and profound purpose. So, this joy, as amazing as it is, isn't the final destination. It's not some spiritual high you're supposed to chase. Instead, you can think of it as the foundation for something even more important: developing real wisdom. So, why does this bliss matter so much? Well, check out this chain reaction. A mind that's filled with this rapture naturally becomes calm and tranquil, and a tranquil mind is powerful, it's workable. Think of it like a high-powered microscope. When the lens is shaky and dirty, you can't see anything clearly. But when it's stable, clean, and focused, that's samadhi, you can see with incredible clarity. It becomes the perfect tool for gaining deep insight into how things really are. So, let's do a quick recap of the whole causal chain we've just walked through, from the simple act of breathing all the way to the potential for profound wisdom. You can see it's a really clear progression. First, you start by observing the breath, but with that special quality of attention. This secludes the mind from all the usual noise, and that allows it to settle into immersion, or samadhi. Then, from that deep immersion, joy and bliss just naturally arise. And finally, you can use that blissful, concentrated mind as the perfect tool to develop true insight. So we'll end with this question. Our whole culture screams at us to pursue happiness, to go get it, to acquire joy out there. But what if these ancient teachings are right? What if the most profound, stable joy isn't something we have to chase down and capture, but something that we simply uncover by allowing the mind, finally, to just be still?